In today's video, I am sharing a super simple no-sew crochet market bag that practically makes itself. This is such a fun, relaxing pattern that uses single crochets and V-stitches. So if you're looking for a quick make that you can start today and use right away, this one's for you. I'll be walking you through everything you need to make this medium-sized version. Plus, I'll show you how you can easily resize it to fit your needs. Sound good? Great, let's get started. The bag that you see here measures approximately 12 inches high and about 17 inches wide. That is not including the straps. The straps themselves are about 10 inches high. For this project, I used a weight 4 cotton yarn with a 6mm hook, but I would recommend that if you have it on hand to also use a 5mm. If you don't have a smaller hook, it doesn't matter. The project itself was made totally with a 6mm hook. The yarn that I used for this I really loved. It is Peaches and Cream by Yarnspirations. And this is a really fun cone shape that holds a lot of yarn. I believe it's about 400 grams on this. To make the bag, I used 205 grams. Usually I like to use a mercerized cotton, and one of my favorite brands is this one, the Yarn Bee from Hobby Lobby. Lion Brand also has a great mercerized cotton yarn. These balls of yarn only hold 100 grams each, so you're going to need at least 2 balls, but just keep in mind you're going to be playing yarn chicken because this did take 205 grams. So I would recommend you either get an extra ball and make your bag a little bit bigger, or just remove a row from the body of your project or a row on the side. That way you should be good to go with 2 balls. One more thing about hook sizes, this yarn recommends a 5mm hook, and this one actually recommends a 4mm hook, and they're both the same weight 4 yarn. So either way, I would recommend that you just go up to a 6mm and call it good. This is such an easy pattern to memorize that once you've done one, you'll do the next one like that. To get started, we're going to do the upper band at the top of the bag, starting with a chain of 21. We're going to be working a single crochet in each chain across, but I recommend that you work it into the back stitch or that back leg because it's going to give a much prettier edge. Now I know that can be a little bit more fussy working into the back bump, but that's where the 5mm comes in. The smaller hook will make it a lot easier to work into those back bumps. We're going to be working our first single crochet in the second chain from the hook. 1, 2. If you're finding the back bump is really tight and too hard to work into, that means you've made your chain way too tight. So I'd recommend that you go back and make your chain a little bit looser. This should not be hard to do. When you come to the end, if you're having a hard time finding the back bump, just flip it back to the front to see your chains. We see we have 2 more left. 2 more bumps. So after your chain of 21, you should see 20 single crochets. Now I'm going to switch back to my 6mm, chain 1 and turn, and work a single crochet into the very first stitch. Continue adding a single crochet in every stitch across. Continue doing this until you have 5 rows of single crochets. And now we're ready to start the body of our bag. For this, we're going to be using V-stitches. A V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in the same stitch. And we're going to do a V-stitch in every stitch across. To begin, chain 4. This is going to serve as your first double crochet and chain 1. Turn, and in the very first stitch below, add a double crochet. And now a V-stitch in the next stitch. That's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in the same stitch. We're doing this all the way across, so by the time we get to the other side, we'll have 20 V-stitches. So double crochet into the stitch, chain 1, double crochet back into the same stitch, all the way across. When you get to the end, you should have something that looks like this. If everything is curling on you and arching, then you've done it right. You want to see it arch. Double check that you have made your V-stitches in every stitch across. And here's your 1 row repeat, chain 4, turn, work a double crochet in the chain 1 space below. And now we're working V-stitches in every previous V-stitch. And I promise you, the further along you go, the easier it will be to find. But right here where they're all close together, you're skipping 2 stitches and then working in the chain 1 space. So 1, 2, chain 1 space. Work your V-stitch into the chain 1 space. So that's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in the same chain 1 space. And you're just going to continue this all the way across, skip 2 stitches, V-stitch around the chain 1 space. And again, just like before, you should see 20 V-stitches. We're not going to be doing any kind of increasing or decreasing. The number will stay the same for every single row. Chain 4, turn, V-stitch in the chain 1 space below to complete your first V-stitch, and then continue across in every V-stitch. Skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, work your V-stitch in the chain 1 space. And now you're just going to continue doing this row after row. For this bag, I did 35 rows of V-stitches. So let's pretend that I've done 35 rows. Now we're going to match the 5 rows of single crochets up here at the top. And to do that, we need to do a decrease. We're going to take all of this and reduce it to this. And look at that. This is where the magic begins. Chain 1 and turn. To get the stitch count back on track, you're going to do a single crochet in every single V-stitch across. So you should have 20 V-stitches. You're going to do a single crochet in each one, which will give you 20 single crochets. One little tip that really helped me was to go down again to that 5mm to help tighten those stitches. Totally optional. Single crochet in the very first V-stitch. Skipping over to the next V. Keep an eye on your tension here. I like to tug, get the loops close together, then create my stitch. Double check that you have 20 single crochets. Returning back to my 6mm. Chain 1 and turn. And now I'm doing my rows of single crochets. Now technically we've already done 1 row of single crochets, so we need 4 more rows of single crochets. So So including the single crochets that cinched everything together, I've done 5 rows. And now the real fun begins. We're going to be creating these straps and the sides all at the same time. I want to give you a little bit of a visual to help you see what we're doing here. And I would highly recommend that you grab yourself a stitch marker before we get started. As you're working this, it's going to feel very natural. There's not a whole lot of thinking involved. It just looks complicated, but I promise you it isn't. We're going to start here. We're going to make our chain for our first strap and attach it to this corner. We're going to work down the side, coming back to this corner, create another strap. So we're doing chains and attaching those chains to this corner, working all the way along until we come back to the very beginning. And we're just going to continue around and around, making single crochets into the chain for the strap and on the sides. For my bag, I did a chain of 65 with a 6mm hook. It's really important here not to be too tight with this, because again, I'm going to recommend that you work into the back stitch or that back bump of your single crochets to give a beautiful edge to your strap. Before you attach to the other side, you want to make sure that your chain is not twisted. Pull it through and create a slip stitch. And now we're going to work our single crochets. So we did 5 rows of single crochets here, so we need to make sure that we have 5 single crochets, 1 for each row. And now, just like before, we're doing a decrease on the sides. We're going to be doing a single crochet in every chain space across. So for every V-stitch row, you're doing a single crochet. For the bag that I made, I did 35 rows. So I'm going to do 35 single crochets, 1 in each chain space. And again, if you want, you can switch to the 5mm to help cinch it closed. But if you don't have the smaller hook, doesn't matter. So working in the chain space, tightening up the tension, single crochet in each chain space. We're back to the top of the bag, going back to my 6mm, working in the 5 single crochets on the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now it's time to do the next strap. We're back to the top of the bag, work 65 chains. We have 5 rows of single crochets, so a single crochet in each one of those rows. Back to a side. I'm going to flip over to the 5mm just to help make this a little easier to tighten. And then a single crochet in each chain space across. So if you did 35 rows of V-stitches, you'll be making 35 single crochets in total on that side. Flipping back to my 6mm for my last 5 rows of single crochets. I'm doing a single crochet in each one of those spaces. And we're back to the beginning with our chain. So from here on out, I'm going to keep a stitch marker on here to help me keep track of my rows or rounds, however you want to refer to it. Now technically we've already done 1 round of single crochets, so you could say that we need to do 4 more rounds of single crochets, but I'm going to leave this up to you. I didn't start counting my rounds until I started the first round of single crochets into the strap. So really after I was finished, I'd done 6 rounds to get a 5-row strap. Now we're just going to work a single crochet in every single chain and every single stitch all the way around. Again, I'm going to recommend that you work into the back stitch or that back leg of the single crochet. It's going to give a beautiful edge to it. And to help me with that, I'm going back down to my 5mm. See how pretty that is? Switching back to my 6mm, and now I'm just going to follow the path. Single crochet along the side, singles into my next chain, along this side until I get to the stitch marker. Easy peasy. If you still have the tail from the very beginning of your project, I'd recommend that you just single crochet over it. That way you don't have to worry about weaving it in later. It'll be in there really nice and secure that way. And that's 1 round completed. This is actually turning into a really cute little handbag. I'm just going to continue working round after round until I have about 5 rounds. When you complete your last round, you're sure you like everything, it's time to fasten off. And what I like to do here is an invisible join or invisible seam. I'm not quite sure what the proper term for this is, but I prefer doing it rather than a regular slip stitch to fasten off. So I'm just going to create a nice long loop. Didn't do a slip knot. Take your tapestry needle. And what I like to do is just work into the front, going under the 2 strands of yarn from the next stitch over, and then into the back loop of the other stitch. This is going to help line it up a little bit more and make it very difficult to see where it begins and ends on this side. I'll flip over, and then I just go into the back. And weave in my end. Try to tuck it in somewhere where it won't easily come out. A little dab of fabric glue never hurts either. And your bag is complete. Resizing your bag is really easy to do because you're not dealing with any kind of stitch multiples. Everything is going to match as far as the stitch counts. I would consider this a mid-sized or a medium-sized bag. I'll pop some numbers in the description box for recommendations for a smaller bag and a larger bag. But to help modify that, I would just say that you can go up maybe 10 chains to do a larger bag or 10 less than what you saw in this video. The only main thing to really consider when you're resizing are the straps. Remember the stretch factor. For these straps, I would account for about 2 inches in stretch. Now that's with a cotton yarn and this nice dense single crochet. If you're using acrylic yarn, then expect that stretch to be a lot more, maybe even up to 4 inches. Now, if you've watched this and think that you would love to have a liner for this to avoid anything poking through the holes, then I've got you covered because I have a video all about how to make a very simple liner that I think you'll find helpful. I use a different bag for the example, but you can apply those steps to this very easily. And another thing that would be super cute is to do a matching purse to go along with your bag. So I'm going to add that link here as well. If you enjoyed the video, a like is always appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.